Hi, let's talk about record keeper crystals. What are they? How do we identify them? Which kind of crystals carry records? And how do we download the information from the record keeper once we have found it? That's the topic of discussion for now. So typically, the two kinds of crystals that will carry records are quartz crystals and corundum crystals. Corundum crystals are ruby and sapphire crystals. So there's an example. This is a quartz crystal, and this particular one has many properties, and it has a little triangle engraved on the face, and that triangle that's engraved on the face, that is the record. And that's how you can tell if a crystal is a record keeper, because you will see triangles embossed, engraved, embedded, built, but a very clear triangle structure will be apparent on the face of a crystal. It's got to be on the face. So for example, this Lemurian, which is truly a spectacular crystal, you certainly can't complain about something this magnificent. It has information on it, and it has all these striations, and it does have triangles along the body of the crystal. But records, the ones we're talking about, will actually be on the face of the crystal, not on the body of the crystal. So somebody did ask me the other day whether this is information also, and it absolutely is information, but it's not quite the same as the record keeper. The record keepers specifically relate to the Akashic records, and the Akashic records were kind of hard for me to understand in the beginning. It's everything that will ever be known to the universe. It's the records of every bit of knowledge, every idea, all information, everything is recorded in the record keepers, but not in one single record. It's across all record keepers. There's this vast library of information that has been recorded in the universe, and that is the Akashic records. And to gain access to the Akashic records, one of the ways is through record keeper crystals. There are other ways you can look up online if you are interested, particularly interested in the Akashic records. For us that are interested in doing crystal healing and accessing that aspect of information from the Akashic records, we're best off downloading a record from a record keeper. Not hard to do, and not hard to access the information once you've done that, as long as you allow it to flow through you. And we'll get into that in a moment. I do just want to show you, I have two very phenomenal pieces that are neither quartz nor sapphire nor ruby. I have this pyrite that's like a seal, S-E-A-L, not the kind in the ocean, but like on a ring where you stamp the wax, and it has these triangles arranged in a square on the pyrite. An extraordinary crystal. What that information is there, I don't know yet, but I do love the crystal, and one day I will find out in a more conscious way what this crystal is able to tell me about. And then I have this extraordinary piece of tourmaline, black tourmaline, that has these amazing records stamped into it, and they are hollowed out. It's like a sculpture form of record keeping in this tourmaline. And also I'm not entirely sure specifically what information comes from this stone, and nor from this one, but I've had them quite a long time, and they are definitely a pride and joy. I love them with all my heart. Beautiful stones. So traditionally one doesn't look for records on either pyrite or tourmaline, but these two items did come to me, and I feel very blessed to be the earth keeper. I did also get a pile of rubies and sapphires that I've got records on, and this particular one, this is a personal piece. There's an actual triangle built into the structure here, kind of clipped on to this much bigger sapphire stone, and I know this is pinkish, But the dealer that I bought this from said it's sapphire. So corundum for certain, and tending towards sapphire, not ruby, even though it's not really blue, it's more pinkish. And then it's got masses, layers of records all over the surface of this stone, both back and front. I don't know which is the back and which is the front. I just know that there's masses and masses of records on these sapphires and rubies that I acquired. And that's what happened to us also with the quartz. We went down to Arkansas. I keep telling this about this famous Arkansas trip. We went down to Arkansas, came back with a lot of crystals, and one box was just small quartz points. They were about this big, each quartz point. And so there were hundreds of quartz points in this box, and every single one had masses of records on them. And it was actually a bit overwhelming. I kind of closed the box, left it in the garage for a long time. And then when I met Melody and I spoke to her, I actually asked her, how did something so rare come to me in such quantity? What's that about? And she just looked me square in the eyes and she said, obviously you've got a lot of information to share. So here I am 25 years later sharing the information about records, at least, and certainly crystal healing and crystal surgery. And I'm pretty firmly convinced that that's where I got the crystal surgery information from all the record keepers that have come my way over the years. And I would say that that is the truth of how I got to download crystal surgery, was via record keepers and the information from the Akashic records. So on to how to download the information. And what you do there is you take your record keeper and then you choose a record that you can see, so a triangle on the record keeper, and you put your thumb onto the record, and then you meditate. You just sit quietly, and actually I can feel the vibration, and you let the record download into your system. This is exactly like downloading software into your computer. You can't see it, you can't feel it, but hit the right keys, call up that information, and there it all is. It's just been downloaded, and it's now at your fingertips, literally, where you can access it and do the functions that that software has enabled you to do. It's the same with the record keeper. It downloads the information into you, and all that needs to happen is that you ask the right question and the information flows out from that downloaded record. That's, as I say, how I think I came to be able to download crystal surgery and get it all written out for all of us. And it's as simple as that. And actually right now I'm saying as simple as that, but my hand is kind of gripped onto the stone, and the stone isn't ready for me to let go, and nor is my hand. So I know the download is still in progress. And while that's happening, because I don't have to do anything consciously other than allow it to happen, I can just say that there are many good questions you can ask about record keepers. One of them is, once you've downloaded the record, does it erase from the crystal? And sometimes it does, yes, but not always. But I have seen it erase, I've seen it delete itself once downloaded. Another good question is, do you need to do the download more than once? It's individual. Sometimes yes, I'm not sure. You need to experiment and find out for yourself, and definitely ask the crystal and see what answer you get from the crystal itself. Another good question is, can records appear on a crystal where you didn't see them before? And absolutely yes, that I have seen with my own eyes. I have seen crystals that are clear of records. They have kind of lines on them, but they're not actually formed records. And then when the earth keeper of that particular crystal comes along, holds the crystal, wakes the crystal up, you can actually see within hours the records popping out on the face of the crystal. I've actually seen this with my own eyes, believe it or not. It is hard to believe. It's hard to believe that something that appears to be fixed can change And I would say that that's one of the ways I have seen crystals change, is to see records popping out on one of the faces, and sometimes many of them. Very, very interesting. So record keepers are fascinating crystals. They are master crystals. They are wonderful. Once you have them and once you've downloaded some of the records, keep them with you. I like to keep some of my record keepers actually on my healing board and keep them with my other crystals. And I know which of my crystals have records and which don't. I spend a lot of time looking at all the faces of all my crystals, checking to see what their properties are and what additional hidden secrets they may be keeping from me. And one of the greatest places for storing information is in record keeper crystals. I wish you much luck in finding your record keeper crystals and downloading the information and accessing that information. Wonderful. Thank you.